Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. I'd like to title today's segment, For a Time to Come. Once again, today's segment is entitled, For a Time to Come. You won't be needing your books. I'm simply going to be talking to you on this segment. As you are able to see based on where you live, that it is a time of much trouble throughout this nation and throughout the earth. You know, at times, sometimes there are things that we may hear and we may see that does not quite make sense to us at the time that we are hearing it or at the time that we're seeing it. And though it may not make sense to us, we still kind of log that information within our minds because sometimes the things that you hear and the things that you see are for a time to come, in which it would have a greater, or you will have a greater understanding of it and why it was revealed to you, shown to you, or taught to you. Considering the current turmoil in the earth, in the U.S., the financial markets, etc., we have to take a few things into consideration. Could it be for those of you who have been at the channel for quite some time, has been here for some years, could it be all that the information that you have learned, gained by visiting the channel? Could it be that that information was given to you for a time to come? Could that time be such a time as this and what's to come, which can possibly be worse? Many have come to the channel, was not sure what the content would be about. You heard some information that you may have disagreed with, maybe not in total, maybe in part. Some of it you flat out could not stand to hear. Some of you didn't know one way or the other, but something caused you to pick up the book and read it. Something caused you to continue to listen, to learn, to read, to study. Could it be that you knowing how to keep the Sabbath, knowing how to pray properly, understanding clearly how we have been led astray, could all of this information be vital information for the time to come, especially a time such as now? As you can see, like I've mentioned previously, the financial markets is in turmoil. A lot of people would have liked to retire. They're unable to do it. A lot of monies has been lost. The security net of many people have been removed. And this is worldwide. You're seeing and have seen a run on the grocery stores. Possibly next you may see a run on the banks. So you're seeing total confusion and hysteria in the midst of the nations. The Most High is pouring out his fury upon them. And that's simply what's happening. Now, with what we're seeing here, we have to take a few things into consideration. The average person who has been around for quite some time, their first rebuttal would be, well, we have seen earthquakes before. We have seen tornadoes before. We have seen the Great Depression. We have seen the stock markets crash before. We have seen pandemics before, all of which are valid points. So regardless of what you think, feel, or believe, the Most High said clearly, Israel is his witness, meaning regardless of what you may believe, he has to prove this to us. And a witness sees. So the Most High has to make himself known to his people. Think of the coming out of Egypt and what he did for the house of Israel coming out of Egypt. Keep in mind, the foul individuals who walked contrary to his law, they came out also. They were just killed off in the wilderness. So the Most High has to do and will do things similar to coming out of Egypt, to where he makes himself known unto his people, and he make it known to the inhabitants of the earth that there is a grave and a very strong distinction between his people and everyone else. Like he had said that Israel are a separate people unto him. So he's going to have to do some things and will do some things to make it plain that the house of Israel is unlike any other of people upon the face of the earth. So Yes, we've seen the earthquakes. Yes, we've seen the markets crash before, etc., etc. Somehow this has a feeling of something entirely different. However, he has to prove all of this to us, and he will. That way we can have a clear understanding of exactly what it is we're looking at. So, could it be what we have learned, the keeping of the Most High Sabbath, not to pollute it, understanding exactly how to face Jerusalem and pray, how to put away these idols, how to walk lockstep with the Most High, abiding within his laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts? Could all of that be for a time to come? Could all of that be for this time and the troublous times that's ahead? Now, with the sickness of the coronavirus that's actually, taking lives, is certainly disrupting commerce, trade, and everything else. Some people are being laid out of work. That precaution is being taken. You're seeing stimulus packages being presented to actually try to boost the economy to save it. The place is on life support, is what it's coming down to. Now, once this money, like I've told you in past videos, the Most High has to do a few things. He has to break these nations financially. Because if you don't have any war, you don't have any money, you can't fight any wars. He has to break them militarily. So you're going to see the pestilence and the wars and all these other conflicts that's going to arise. Now, as we look at the current situation, many of the nations are on lockdown. People are in fear for their lives, and rightfully so. Some people are claiming that this thing is man-made and that it's mutating, etc., etc., regardless of whether it's something that's natural, so to speak, or made in the lab. It's the Most High at work. And that is something that we should never forget. It is the Most High at work with these plagues, because that's what it is. So as these things take place and people are afraid for their lives, they're losing their money, okay? And they're to the point to where they feel that there's no hope. Now, there's a weakness within the nations. There's panic and there's concern. Now, an opportunist will attack you when you're weak. So as we see the weakness in the nations and the panic and the confusion begins to set in, do not be surprised if one of these military powered nations launch an attack on the other that's just simply out the blue and unprecedented. Keep in mind, over the past few years, we have seen the escalation of the tensions militarily. We have seen the escalation from SARS to MARS to Ebola, and now we're looking at the coronavirus. You're seeing it intensify year by year as far as the ability to, the contagion, as far as the ability for it to spread and the ability for it to kill. Uh, so we're seeing some things being multiplied year after year to where it seems to be going down a very slippery slope and things are not looking good. However, what we are to do, we are to suit up. As servants of the Most High, we are to suit up. We're to put on that breastplate of righteousness. That is that law, and we're to walk in it. That is our protection. Now, all of these nations that are confessing this idol, JC and whomever else, it will be bad enough to where they will all have an opportunity to call upon their idol. It will be proven to the children of Israel without a shadow of a doubt that the very nations, these wicked individuals that we were sent to, that we were cast out to, that brought us these lies, that taught us this idolatry, the very idol that they have brought to us will not be able to save them. And we will see it with our own eyes. And it will be made plain to us that this is indeed an idol, this is indeed a lie, and we have taken a hold of falsehood. So, you're seeing the chaos around you, but the Most High did say no weapons against those of us who are walking within the law, statutes, judgments, and precepts will prosper. We will see them fall to the left hand and to the right hand, but it will not come nigh unto us. So, what we are to do is to continue to walk in the Most High's laws, keep his Sabbath days, keep his holy days. refrain from dealing with those who are not walking within his law. And when you're dealing with people, as you should already know, you deal righteously with those who are dealing righteously with you. If the Most High calls a man to be at peace with you, regardless of his race, his ethnicity, or anything else, if the Most High causes this man to be at peace with you, you are to be at peace with him. You are to deal righteously with him and anyone else. So do not be afraid of the chaos that you see around you. What it's going to do is going to make plain for us to bear witness exactly what's what. Now, with the collapsing of the money, it becomes important. Keep in mind the church is a business and the church is money driven. Many of these quote unquote pastors, they simply do this for the money. It's a means by which to get rich, to get wealthy. Now, once the money crashes, all right, we will see exactly how much preaching they will do when there's no benefit for them financially by which to gain anything. So all of these things have to play themselves out. So once again, we have to bear witness. We have to see, and we will have to wait and see. So we are to be patient in this whole thing. This can be something just like we had in '08, where the markets got in a frenzy. People lost a lot of money, and then life pretty much returned to normal a few years after. We shall see. Somehow this has a feeling of something totally different. However, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like anyone else. I am to wait and to see and to bear witness. But in the process of me waiting, I'm to walk in the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. And I would suggest that you would do the same. That way, the things that you see will not confuse you. You will not be in fear for lack of understanding. And those who are walking after idols, when they see the money is gone, when they see that the government and the police cannot protect them, and when they see that the church, speaking of the church, currently they're having it to where they don't want more than 50 people congregating at a time at the workplace environment or otherwise. Many of the churches, these are idol houses, eminent high places, these are groves. Many of these idol houses are unable to have service because of the coronavirus. Now, at no time in the Most High's temple in Zion were any servants of the Most High, the people, the children of Israel, afraid to go to the Most High's temple for fear of catching a disease of any kind. It has never happened. The Most High only has one house, one place. One place he chose to lay his name, where we will take our tithe, our vows, and our offerings and our sacrifices. One place, one spot, one city, one temple. He's never had a house in America, China, Brazil, or anywhere else. And all of you should know this by now. So with the crashing of the monies, it will be made plain that these churches are false. Rome currently is also in a lockdown. So the Vatican is not doing anything to help out Rome, and that's where that place is located. These are all eminent high places, and the Most High will lift up his hand against these individuals and against these entities and against these nations. So you will see clearly that these nations will be beaten down by the Most High. He has to make himself known unto his people, and he will do that by making a separation between his people and everyone else. And no entity, no idol can save these nations. So let the Pope call on his idol to save Rome. Let the idolatrous churches in America call upon their idol and see if he will deliver them in the time of trouble. So ensure you stay in the law, protect yourself. The breastplate of righteousness is the Most High's law. Walk in it. Peace and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Peace, Israel, and Yah bless.